Hi, everyone. I'm Matia Query, the editor of BookLife.
And I'm Alan Scherstuhl, the editor of BookLife Reviews.
Hey, so excited to talk about a couple books today. We're going to start with a book called Hazardous Lies by Stephen J. Wallace. And here is, you can probably see the cover on your end as well. So should we start talking about the cover?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So I can tell right away that this looks to be a thriller. I'm going to go with thriller. I definitely see sort of some construction. It looks like a power plant in the background. And the fire is effective. We have the word hazardous. So I think I know right away that this is going to be a book about some sort of power plant that faces some destruction.
And I like how there's a little bug on it where it says a novel, which is like a warning sign, a hazard sign in a little red triangle. I think that triangle should maybe be a little more garishly red to stand out against the kind of brownness. This is a very brown and yellow cover, and which I think fits the material. If this were on a printed book I'm looking at a store, I don't know that I would like this cover as much as I like it for digital and for like online shopping. If this cover is very small, like on my screen, I know exactly what kind of book it is. I know exactly what it's going to be. But it is, I think, a little just so brown, so yellow, so kind of putrid in a way that I think fits the subject matter. But I don't know that it would work as well if it's something that I'm holding in my hand and about to read. What do you make of I like the logos at the top of all the prizes that the book has won. That to me immediately confers a sense that, okay, this book is what it appears to be. It's not going to be written by AI. This is an author who takes this seriously and who has written for an audience who appreciates this kind of book. And that audience likes this particular book.
I have maybe a slightly different take on it, and I'm a little on the fence about this because I agree this shows that the author is experienced, has a bunch of accolades. It does make the cover look a little busier, and so I'm questioning the choice to perhaps use all of the seals there. I don't see it as much of a distraction as it is. It kind of creates more of a cluttered feeling, but I'm not going to take a hard stance on that one way or the other. And back to the little, what looks like the warning symbol, I do agree that I think if we had a little bit more pop of color in that could be effective, because I do think it's very nice, but a little brighter red I think could go a long way in terms of making it pop from across the room.
So one thing we're always looking for in a cover is, what does this promise to the reader? And I think what we both think this promises is that this is going to be a tale of environmental disaster, some sort of corporate malfeasance, and since it's titled Hazardous Lies, an attempt to expose the truth.
Right. And I do like that the cover is telling us, but not too much. We don't have characters on the cover. We have a suggestion that gives us a pretty strong impression, but it's not spoon feeding us what we're about to read.
What I'm always looking for when I take a first look at a book is it proving to be the book that the cover told me it was going to be? Is it proving to be a book that will reflect what readers who are interested in that cover want to read? And I think this marketing copy, if nothing else, pretty definitively backs up the first impression of the book. It opens with a loud blast in the early morning, shakes a neighborhood and alarms a community. An unthinkable tragedy has occurred. An explosion at a chemical plant has left workers dead and the son of a state senator missing. So we immediately get a dramatic situation. I think maybe there's that text I just read is a little repetitive. I don't know that we need an alarms a community. I don't think we need has occurred. An unthinkable tragedy, an explosion at a chemical plant. It can be tightened up. And then a little further down in this paragraph, we get the introduction of a character. What did you think?
Well, yeah, I am the type of reader who sort of looks for the emotional anchor in a story right away, and very often that is the character. So we are introduced to John Barrett, who is a new investigator for the government, who is sent in to discover the cause of this chemical plant explosion. And I do like the addition of he's haunted by his role in an earlier fatal accident. So that tells me, okay, there's going to be some depth here. There's something I can hold on to. I do think it could be tightened up, as you mentioned. We've got 2 pretty decent sized paragraphs here. So for marketing copy, it's a little on the long side. I don't think it would lose a lot if we did some cutting. But I'm pleased with it. It makes me want to step in and find out what's going to happen.
Yeah, I agree. I think haunted by his role in an earlier fatal accident is especially strong, and that gives us some sense that this is going to be a humane thriller that's actually interested in people and not just policy and explosions. But I agree. I think much of the second paragraph could be reduced to just a couple of lines.
Yeah, so we're going to take a look at the excerpt for Hazardous Lies. We're definitely starting right in the action. 3 inches to the left, and it would have missed the man's heart. He might have lived. So that definitely pulls us in right away. Lets us know that we're in for some drama and some excitement. And then it becomes clear that this is, in fact, a memory. Is that right?
A dream.
A dream, right. Okay, well, so nightmare. He is nightmare, traumatic event from the past. And so we're definitely getting right into the kind of a gut punch, starting off with this character's past. And anytime a phone rings at a certain hour, it's usually not good news. And that's what happens to this character.
That's all very clear here. I agree that it feels like it starts with a bang, and it starts with something that's clearly very important to the character. But for me, I found it a little tangled in its moving between nightmare and past and his present, and with a little too much detail about his bed sheets and things that are delaying us from actually getting to the phone call that we know will be important. There is some irrelevant detail in here, I think. What I'm always looking for most in the first passage I read from a book is, does this flow? Does each sentence flow purposefully from one to the next in a way that carries the reader along and demonstrates authorial confidence and power? And here I feel that occasionally, but then it feels like also, no, wait, I want to put this into. No, we need to get this into. And it just doesn't feel quite streamlined enough yet for me. Often, though, the first couple pages of a book tend to be the ones that have been edited the most, and then things tend to straighten out a little bit as it goes. So maybe that will happen here. Everything in here is intriguing, and I want to know what happens when he answers the phone. My concern here is that maybe it's taking too long, and readers are having to do a little too much guesswork to understand the particulars of the dramatic situation before we get to the phone.
Yeah, I agree. There is a lot of backstory kind of plop down here, and I do wonder if some of that could occur more organically through in-scene or dialogue. So it's kind of heavy loaded in the beginning, but it still works for me. And I find that it can be pretty easy for a reader to kind of tune out what they find is not essential information. Mm-hmm. But I'm excited for the call. And excited to see what happens.
Answer the call, Matia. The true test is, do we want to keep reading? And I think in this case, we both do.